I mean, ulama have discussed it a bit more, and they've spoken about where there are exceptions to backbiting and so on. But I suppose there can be a general rule that if your intention isn't to backbite the person, but rather, for example, to get somebody's advice about an incident that involves another person, or to perhaps even share your pain and seek counseling from someone. But where it's possible to anonymize, then anonymize. Okay. So if it's possible to avoid using names, then don't use them. If you must use names, then usually the reasons why you might use names is because you're trying to warn the other person of this person, of the harm, of how dangerous this person is. You're warning the other person because they're about to enter it, because it's part of your nasiha to them, because they're about to enter into a partnership with them, enter into marriage with them, move in with them, something like that. And the other person has a habit of, I don't know, stealing or lying or something or other that can potentially be harmful. Then you're in this dilemma, right, of your obligation to not backbite that person, but also your obligation to nasiha for this person. And in that situation, you have to find a way of fulfilling both, and where it becomes necessary to mention this person's harm to the other specifically, then you have to do it. You then become obligated to do it. So for example, you're obligated to specifically mention somebody's serious flaw if somebody else is considering them in marriage and they've asked you for your opinion. You have to, right? Another example is the classical in the science of hadith, when the biographers of hadith narrators honestly write the negative things about narrators of hadith. So if somebody is known to fabricate hadith, they record it in very blunt terms, basically, right? That this person is a fabricator, this person is a liar, this person is a serial liar, things like that. That is also, So that's, it's called jarh, right? But because that's absolutely necessary. Similarly, in certain legal proceedings, for example, and so on. So there are those circumstances. Outside of circumstances where like even logically, it's necessary to mention the specifics, mention names, and so on. Outside of those situations, we try our best to avoid taking names, and we anonymize as much as we can. And some people actually, you do if you're in a really good, healthy Islamic environment, people do become really good at it. They become really good at anonymizing and and avoiding backbiting and so on. And actually, those are the kind of cultures we should be trying to create, and the kind of circles of friends that we should be trying to create, who buy into the value. Let's commit. We're not going to backbite. Like I gave up swearing because my circle of friends, we all committed that we were going to stop. Right? I mean, this was my teens. All right. Promise. Okay. Yeah, not last week. And swearing in football was a particular problem.
So following up on riba, if you always anonymize, is that considered backbiting? Even if it's not necessary to
not if you're deliberately being sly and just paying kind of lip service to anonymizing. Like you anonymize in such a way that it becomes obvious who you're talking about. Right? But if you're always anonymizing, but then you should also avoid the habit of just always talking about other people for the sake of it. Does that make sense? But technically, it wouldn't be backbiting if people didn't know who you're talking about. Does that make sense? Yeah. But if you're constantly leaving clues, or you're talking about people who the other person is going to interact with in the next hour or something like that, and then you have to be careful. I mean, look, the definition, the Prophet's own definition of backbiting is dhikruka akhaka bima yakrah. You remembering your brother in a way that he or she would dislike. Or you remember them in a way that they would dislike. They wouldn't want to be remembered in that way. They wouldn't want to be mentioned in that way. Does that make sense? That is it, and that's really what we need to avoid.